Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Actually, Divya, there was means I was in the downstairs and I have to come to my place. It's a 16th floor, so I cannot I cannot take the staircases. So I was waiting for the lift.
That makes sense.
So that is why it's being late. Otherwise, the class is about to begin by the time only. Tomorrow it will begin by the same time. There won't be any delay.
Okay.
Okay. So we will take the thermodynamics
Yes.
and
The PowerPoint presentation that you sent last time, it doesn't have anything on it.
doesn't have anything on that. Okay.
No, I opened it in 3 different places to see if there was anything that maybe, there was some like technical issue, but no, there's nothing in that PowerPoint.
Okay, let me check that. Let me check. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see that my screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are right. Actually, I think I was forgot to, to save the ink mark.
Okay.
I think there you are right. Right. Okay. So last class we were discussed about the thermodynamics process. So today we will take the things further up. So if you want the notes for that class, I have to retrieve from the Google Drive. I'll check the Google Drive and then I'll share from the Google Drive. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So where we were discussing what was the topic of last class? That is the thermodynamics, heat and work, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And I think we have discussed the Hess law.
Not
Okay.
thoroughly, no.
Okay. Not exactly. So okay. So we have discussed the enthalpy. Enthalpy is the sum of internal energy plus sum of P into delta V, PV work,
Mhm.
right? Okay. And enthalpy based on the first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics. Okay, cool. Now we will take this called Hess law. Hess law is based on the law of energy conservation. Law of energy conservation. And the state function, the state function are independent of path being taken. State function is independent of path being taken in in a cyclic process, in a cyclic process in which initial and final state initial and final state is same irrespective of irrespective of path being taken, path being taken by state function. What does that mean in the simple
Is
terms? Yeah, in the simple
it
terms. Yeah, what's your doubt? You can ask.
uh, the straight function or the state function?
Yeah, it's a state function. State. 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 Okay, so I think it's clear. Okay. So I told you what about the state function. So if I am having a process in which initial and final states are same, and this process is going to complete in a different path. Okay, either there is a delta H for path A to B, and then we are having AC, CD, and DB. So this function is going to complete in 4 different paths. So delta H, delta H1, delta H2, delta H3. Now you can see we have started from A, so we have to go to the final destination, that is B. So final destination can be achieved either through direct path or through different cyclic path. So this, in this particular cyclic process, the value of state function will be conserved, means delta H is equal to delta H1, delta H2 plus delta H3. This is called the Hess law. Okay. ठीक है, हो गया, done. Okay, so this is the Hess law. Now the application of Hess law. Application of Hess law. Suppose I am having a process in which carbon C plus O2 produces CO2 gas. It is the formation of carbon dioxide. And I am having a process called C plus half O2 produces CO gas, and the enthalpy of this process, delta H1. The delta H1 is X kilojoule per mole. X kilojoule per mole, and then CO plus half O2 reacts, it forms CO2 gas. Delta H2 for this process is Y kilojoule per mole. But I want to calculate the enthalpy of formation. I want to calculate the enthalpy of formation for this first reaction. So what will be the enthalpy of formation for first reaction? Can you calculate?
1 second. I don't understand.
So you have to you have to make the combination of these two equation. If you do the combination of these two equation, you have to get the equation of, you have to get the third equation, means this the first equation. If you combine both equation, if you combine this equation, like you have to subtract equations 2 from equation third, what you will get, this carbon monoxide will cancel out, you will get C plus half O2. You have to add these two equations. Once you will add, you will get C plus half O2 plus half O2 gives CO2 gas. Can you see that?
Yes.
If you add both the equation, the carbon monoxide will cancel out. Half O2 plus half O2, it will give you one molecule of O2. So C plus O2 gives CO2 gas. So when you are combining the equations, already I told you that enthalpy, energy are extensive quantities, and you can easily add extensive quantities. So overall enthalpy change will be the addition of x plus y.
Okay.
So the answer will be the x plus y. Okay.
Yeah.
Any doubt?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you have to arrange the equation in such a manner that you will get the final equation.
Yeah, okay.
So if you want to get the final equation, you have to arrange. Either you have to add or you have to subtract. That is the application of Hess law. So I'm
Yeah.
going to give you one more question. Try to solve one more question. Okay. Let me put the question. Enthalpy. If I want to if I want to form C2H6 plus O2, that gives 2 CO2 plus 3 H2O. Okay? This is the combustion reaction of ethane. Now in the combustion reaction of ethane, I am having the number of carbon atom as 2. Oxygens are 2 plus 2 into 2, 4 atoms. Here 3 atoms of oxygen. So we need to have the 7 atom of oxygen in the left hand side. So it will be 7 by 2. So if you want the valence equation of hydrocarbon combustion, you can write like this: x CO2 plus y by 2 water molecule, and oxygen will be x plus y by 4. This is a simple formula. By this formula you can do combustion reaction of hydrocarbons. Okay? Now you have to calculate the heat of formation. So okay. So have you written down the equation?
No.
Yeah, okay. So there is a question, like we are having a formula. Anju sir, Anju, गेट लॉक कर दो. N2 plus half O2 gives NO, and NO plus half O2 gives NO2. The enthalpy of this equation is 28 kilojoule, and the enthalpy of this equation is 58 kilojoule mole inverse. You have to find out the enthalpy of formation of NO2 gives N2 plus NO2. This will be the N2 plus, this will be the 2NO. 2NO, half O2. Okay, just a moment. Give me a moment. Here you have to just subtract. Okay, half N2 plus half O2 gives NO, and NO plus half O2 gives NO2. So you have to find out the enthalpy of formation of half N2 plus O2. this enthalpy is delta H. You need to find out the value of delta H.
Can the enthalpy be negative?
Yeah, it could be negative also. No problem at all. Because you want to, when once you add equation first and second, you will get the reverse of the equation third. You will get just
Yeah.
reverse of the equation third. But when you will get the reverse of equation third, that value will be 28 plus 58. It will be approx 86, right?
Yeah.
So 86, that 86 kilojoule will be in positive. But when you reverse the equation, that will be in the negative. So the answer will be minus 86.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah, definitely you can do this. No problem at all. So I think now you are getting the concept of how to frame the equation in order to get the final equation from given 2 or 3 equations, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now we will discuss the Born-Haber cycle. What is Born-Haber cycle? Born-Haber cycle is used to calculate the lattice energy. Lattice
One
energy.
second. I just had a question. So if the enthalpy is negative, does that mean the reaction is exothermic? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, that's right. If enthalpy is negative means it's exothermic, and if enthalpy is positive, it means it's endothermic. So what does the real meaning of exothermic? The real meaning of exothermic, that heat will be liberated. Heat will be liberated out of the system. Suppose I am having this system. Here chemical reaction is happening. When heat is given to system, Q input, Q is given to system, that is called endothermic process. Okay. And when Q is liberated, heat is liberated out of the system, that is called exothermic process. And for exothermic process, enthalpy is negative value. For endothermic, enthalpy is positive value. In the similar fashion, if work done on the system, work done on the system means W will be positive, and then work done by the system, that means W will be negative. Work done by the system means expansion of gas. Expansion work is the negative work, means it is work done by the system. But when you apply work on the system, system will compress. When you apply pressure on the system, work done on the system, system will compress. So compression is the work done on the system. Okay. And why I'm talking compression and expansion? Because in thermodynamics we are dealing with the gaseous work. We are not considering mechanical or electrical work. We are only considering the gaseous work. I hope it's clear to you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You just write down, I'm coming within 1 minute to take some water. I'm coming back. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think you might have completed the task. You have written everything right.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So this is the exothermic and endothermic process. Work done on the system, work done by the system. Everything is clear. Now,
Yeah.
Born-Haber cycle. Born-Haber cycle is about the calculation of lattice energy. Now you have to understand what is the lattice energy. Suppose there is a ionic compound. So ionic compound is formed from the gaseous cation and gaseous anion. When gaseous cation and gaseous anion combines, they form they form the NaCl solid. They form the solid crystal of ionic compound. So the lattice energy is required. It is the amount of energy. It is the amount of energy being liberated from the from the formation of 1 mole of ionic solid, 1 mole of ionic solid lattice from its gaseous constituents anion and cation. Okay. So Na plus and Cl minus when combined, they forms NaCl solid. So it is the amount of energy being liberated from the formation of how many? 1 mole of
Mhm.
ionic solid lattice from its gaseous constituents anion and cation. Okay. So lattice energy is being liberated. Liberated means it will be exothermic. The value will be negative. So the lattice energy value of ionic this NaCl is approx 786 kilojoule mole inverse. That is negative value. Okay. Any doubt in the lattice energy? Okay.
No.
So it is the amount of energy being liberated from the formation of 1 mole. Important क्या है? All the enthalpy is defined for 1 mole. ठीक है? Enthalpy of formation, enthalpy of combustion, enthalpy of ionization, enthalpy of neutralization. Everything is defined for the 1 mole.
That is for that value is for the sodium chloride, right?
Right. Now there is one more term. This is called lattice energy. There is one more term called lattice enthalpy. What is lattice enthalpy? People are generally get confused between energy and enthalpy. Energy is an endothermic, exothermic, and enthalpy is just opposite of this equation. It is the amount of energy required. It is the amount of energy required to break 1 mole of lattice, 1 mole of solid lattice into its gaseous constituents, ionic, cation, and anion. So it is just opposite of lattice energy. Okay. It is the amount of energy required to break. So amount of energy required means positive value. So enthalpy is the endothermic and energy is the exothermic. I think it's clear.
Yes. So in this case, it's 1 mole of the solid being broken apart into its constituent gaseous forms.
Yeah. So when 1 mole of ionic compound, ionic solid lattice breaks into the constituents anion and cation, that is called lattice enthalpy. And lattice energy, when these ion combines, when ionic 1 mole of when cation and anion combine and forms 1 mole of ionic solid lattice, so that is called lattice energy.
So same value, just opposite sign because it's
yeah,
absorbing.
yeah, same value, but only the sign will be opposite. So in a broad spectrum, how many subject you are having in the your IBHL? How many subjects are there?
I take 3 HLs.
3. Physics,
Yeah.
chemistry, math. What
Yeah.
are those?
I take those at HL, and then for SL, I take economics, English, and Spanish.
Okay, you are having the economics as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So this is called the lattice enthalpy and energy. Now we have to calculate the lattice enthalpy. So suppose I'm making an NaCl solid. Okay, so there is a one energy called heat of formation, enthalpy of formation. What is the enthalpy of formation? It is the amount of enthalpy change, amount of energy. So you can write like this: delta HF. Just a moment. It is the enthalpy change when when one mole of compound is formed from its constituents atoms or molecule in their most stable natural occurring form. That means, suppose I want to prepare HBr. I want to prepare HBr gas at room temperature. So you have to take hydrogen in the gaseous form and half mole of hydrogen and half mole of bromine in which form? Can you tell me bromine exists at which form? At room temperature, bromine exists in particular which state? Liquid, solid, or gas?
And let me just write this down. And then answer your question.
I told you it is the enthalpy change when one mole of compound is formed from its constituents atom molecules in their most stable natural occurring form. So in nature, hydrogen exists as a gas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about bromine in nature?
I think it's liquid.
Yeah, that's right. Bromine is a particular non-metal which exists as a liquid at room temperature. Okay. And if I want to prepare the carbon dioxide, here I write diamond, diamond plus half O2. This produces CO2 gas, and carbon graphite plus half O2, it produces carbon dioxide gas. Both are almost same, both the product are same, both the product are CO2. CO2 is being formed from carbon and oxygen, absolutely right. Oxygen exists as a gas in the nature form, absolutely right. Now can you identify, can you evaluate, can you judge out of these two equations which one will be the correct equation for heat of formation of carbon dioxide gas? Can you evaluate? You have to analyze.
Yeah, one
Now
second, let me just write it down. And then
so you should know which one is the most stable form, graphite or diamond, and which one exists in the nature as a natural most stable form.
well, wouldn't it be graphite?
Yeah, that's right. Graphite is more stable compared to diamond. You will say that diamond is the hardest material, so diamond has to be more stable. But there is a conceptual understanding in this two form. Diamond and graphite. Graphite is thermodynamically more stable. Graphite is thermodynamically more stable. Thermodynamically most stable. So when I say thermodynamically most stable, that means change in Gibbs free energy is 0 and delta HF for graphite is 0. For graphite it's 0 and delta HF means H naught F. H naught means standard state. Delta F H naught oxygen gas is 0. Delta HF delta H naught bromine gas is 0. But if I say delta HF bromine gas, bromine not liquid, bromine liquid 0. If I write bromine gas, it won't be equal to 0. There will be some value for this. Okay, so IUPAC has recommended that the heat of formation of any compound in its most stable natural occurring form will be always 0. क्या होगा वो? It will be always 0. Any doubt in this?
No, so the actual enthalpy of formation, if you do it at its natural occurring form, will always be 0.
Yeah, in the natural occurring form, the enthalpy of formation of that molecule will be 0. But if I say enthalpy of formation of bromine in gaseous form does not equal to 0, but in liquid form, it will be equal to 0.
Okay.
Okay, so here the correct answer is this one, graphite wala. The graphite plus half O2 gives CO2. This represents as the heat of formation of CO2. Okay.
Yes.
So I think heat of formation is clear to you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now I'll take this discussion further with the heat of formation of solid compound. So NaCl can be prepared by two manner. Either sodium as a metal. So metal exists as a solid in room temperature. Metal exists as a solid, and chlorine will exist as a gas. Metal will exist as a solid. Chlorine will exist as a gas, and it will form NaCl solid. This is the enthalpy of formation. This is the enthalpy of formation of NaCl. Right? Just give me a moment. I'll have to pick this call. Just give me. Oh, sorry. Have you got it?
Yes.
Yeah, I was keep on saying, but my speaker was mute. I came back quite earlier, but I think you were headed down and you were writing something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you seen that Na solid can be prepared by NaCl solid can be prepared from Na solid and Cl2 gas. Na solid exists, metal exists as a solid, chlorine exists as a gas. Right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think this is clear to you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So wait, in this case, because they're in the natural form, would the enthalpy of formation just be 0?
Yeah. So enthalpy of Na solid at room temperature is 0. Enthalpy of chlorine at room temperature is enthalpy of formation, delta HF is 0, right? No problem, no problem. It's right. Okay.
Yeah.
But now this NaCl can be formed from one other process, and that process is called lattice energy from ionic gaseous cation and gaseous anion. It can also form NaCl solid. Now our final destination, final reach, final output in both process is same. Equation first and equation second. Okay?
Yeah.
Final process is same, so we can apply Hess law very well. This both we can apply the Hess law in this process. Do you understand that? See, NaCl solid we are getting either from Na solid half Cl2 gas, or we are getting from Na plus gas Cl minus gas, but the product we are getting the lattice only, solid lattice. So solid lattice can be formed either through process. One is the natural process, heat of formation, and this is the heat of, this is the lattice energy or lattice in heat. So that is known as delta U. Delta U. Now, so now you have to calculate delta U. So how will you calculate delta U? So can I take one by one process? So is that clear? Enthalpy and lattice energy is clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So in next page I will take you. So here I will write like this. Here it's a cation and it's a anion. The cation part is like this. Na solid. Na solid has to convert into sodium gas. So when you convert solid into gas without reaching into the liquid state, that is called sublimation process. This process is the sublimation process. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So this is the sublimation, and sublimation process you have to provide the energy in order to break the force in lattice. So you have to provide the energy, means it's endothermic. So plus Se. Sublimation energy means endothermic. After that, you have to knock out an electron from the outermost valence shell of sodium gaseous atom, that is called IE1, ionization energy 1. So when you knock out a single electron, that is IE1. When you knock out a second electron followed by escaping of first electron, that is called IE2. In the similar fashion, we will also get IE3. Okay? So Na will form Na plus via IE1, ionization energy first. I hope it's clear. Do you want to go somewhere?
No.
Okay. It's clear?
Yes.
Okay. So sublimation energy means you have to provide the energy in order to break the solid forces. So when you break the solid forces and it becomes gaseous, so you have to provide the energy, it's endothermic. After again, you have to knock out the electron. For knocking out the electron from outermost cell, you have to provide the energy. So ionization energy is also positive. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have finally reached Na solid to Na plus gas. That was our motto. Now from half Cl2, you have to make the half Cl2 gas, you have to make the one atom of Cl gas. You have to get single atom. So kaise hoga? How you will do that? This is the bond. So you have to provide the bond dissociation energy. Bond dissociation energy is known as D. You have to provide D. So D will break one molecule bond. We are having the half molecule, so we have to multiply with half. So the value will be D by 2. Value will be D by 2. Now I wanted to know, this bond dissociation energy will be endothermic or exothermic? Can you tell me? It's endo or exo?
Wait 1 second.
Yeah,
When it says from 1/2 chloride to the anion, would it be Cl minus?
no, we are not making Cl minus. We are after chlorine gas. Once we get the neutral gaseous atom, so in the neutral isolated gaseous atom, by adding the single electron in the outermost cell, we will get the electron affinity value, and that is called the enthalpy of electron affinity. Enthalpy of electron affinity. Then we will get the Cl minus. Now I am
Okay.
getting just chlorine atom.
Yeah. Okay.
So from molecule to atom, this will be a endothermic process or exothermic. That is what I wanted to know. You are breaking the bond. This is what I'm telling you. You are breaking the bond.
Okay. Well, then it has to be endothermic.
Definitely. It has to be endothermic, means you are providing the energy. If you want to break something, you have to provide the energy.
Mhm.
I hope it's clear to you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Why do you multiply the bond association energy by 1/2?
Okay. See, for breaking the 1 mole of, because whenever we use the term enthalpy means it is always defined for 1 mole. When we are breaking the 1 mole of bond, the bond dissociation energy is D. For 1 mole, it's D. When we are breaking half mole of compound, so it has to be D by half.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Yes.
Got it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, in gaseous atom, when you are adding single electron in the outermost valence shell, when you are adding single electron in the outermost valence shell, okay, so now you are adding single electron in outermost valence shell, that will call the electron affinity value. That is called electron affinity or enthalpy of electron affinity, delta EGF, delta EGH. So this value will be the exothermic. This is negative. Why? Because you are adding a charge species. So when you are adding a new charge species to a neutral, so charge molecule will always liberates the heat. So Cl minus will liberates the heat. When it liberates the heat, it will be exothermic. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool, got it?
Yes.
So I think you have got the concept, right?
Yes.
Okay, now we have got what we really required. We wanted to have Na plus and Cl minus. So
Mhm.
now Na plus and Cl minus will combine. It will form NaCl solid. So this form is the delta U. This is delta U, right?
Which is the lattice energy, correct?
Yeah, this is what we required. So now you can say, now you can write like here. Now you can say enthalpy of formation of NaCl equal to Na plus gas, Na to Na plus gas, this is the cationic form, plus Cl2, half Cl2 gas to chlorine minus gas, this is the anionic form, right? Plus del U, plus del U. When you combine these three part, it will give you the enthalpy of formation. Means delta HF NaCl equal to Na plus Sc plus IE. This is the cationic form. Cation is done here. Then for anion, d by 2 minus delta EGH, electron affinity, plus del U. So that is how you will get the value of del U. All the value will be given in the question. Heat of formation will be given, sublimation will be given, ionization value will be given, and dissociation value will be given, enthalpy of electron affinity will be given. You have to calculate only the lattice energy. I hope you have got this question.
The minus E.
Minus
G
E,
and
minus
electron
E,
infinity.
this is the electron affinity.
Okay.
Eg means electron gain enthalpy. Delta Eg means electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. ठीक है?
Yes.
So I hope it's clear to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Born-Haber cycle. Born-Haber cycle is used to calculate the lattice energy. ठीक है?
Mhm.
So you can write a question. You can take a question for this Born-Haber cycle. Okay, so you have to calculate the this lattice energy for AlCl3. You have to find out the formula of lattice energy for AlCl3, aluminum trichloride. If delta HF formation is X, okay, you have to calculate the lattice energy and ionization energy, okay, plus sublimation energy. That is the anionic part. No, sorry, cationic part. anion में क्या आएगा? Dissociation energy, ठीक है, प्लस इलेक्ट्रॉन गेन एंथैल्पी, ये नेगेटिव होगा. Now you have to frame these values in order to calculate the delta U. Basically, you have to derive the formula. So can you do that?
I can try.
Just try that.
So what am I doing? Finding the.
Okay, so you have to frame the equation in terms of delta HF. But here, why I have given you this particular question, because in this question you have to calculate the IE for Al3 plus. So there will be from Al solid to aluminum gas, you have to provide the sublimation energy. Then aluminum gas to Al plus gas, there will be a IE1. Al plus gas to Al plus plus gas, it will be IE2. Al plus plus gas to Al plus 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 gas, it will be IE3. So
Yeah.
here you need to have 3 value of IE. Got it?
Yeah.
And again, in the case of chlorine, so it is a 3 by 2 Cl2 will produce you chlorine single atom. So you have to do D into 3 by 2. D into 3 by 2. That is only the difference. And the remaining part is same. The remaining
Yeah,
part is
I had the ionization energy up until 3, but then I didn't have the chlorine that way. But now I know.
So chlorine part is clear. 3/2. 3/2 chlorine means you will get 3 chlorine atom. Once you get 3 chlorine atom, because we require 3 chlorine atom, we require 3 chlorine atom. So I hope you got this concept, right?
Yeah.
So this is the very classical fundamental application of Hess law to calculate the lattice energy in Born-Haber cycle. Okay, so you are having your friend by the name of Chinmay.
Chinmay, yes.
Yeah, Chinmay. So her mother is approached to me for the mentoring of Chinmay. So
Yeah.
how is she means how is she means her grasping power, her conceptual clarity? Do you know about anything?
Yeah, and she does SL chemistry, so maybe teaching her is gonna be a little different. But yeah, she's very good with understanding, and yeah, she asks questions and things, so it's gonna be really helpful for her.
Okay, okay. Means she is like an enthusiast. She is like having the passion to know more. है ना?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So Born-Haber cycle is done. Do you have any doubt in this concept?
No.
Okay, cool. So thermochemistry is this Born-Haber cycle, and then we will have the one more concept that is called the heat of neutralization. You know what is neutralization? Do you understand? What is neutralization? When acid react with base,
Yeah.
it forms salt plus water. So acid means H plus reacts OH minus. Okay? So
Yeah.
there will be a conjugate part of acid, that is HaBOH. Okay? So this AB will form salt as AB salt, and these two anion H plus proton and hydroxide ion will form water. Okay? Suppose I am having HCl and NaOH. So NaCl will form as a salt, neutral salt. So this process is known as the neutralization.
Yep.
And in this process, the amount of heat liberated from the complete, see, one of all words are very important, from the complete neutralization, of 1 gram equivalent of acid with 1 gram equivalent. Here we don't take mole, we take gram equivalent. Okay? So it is the complete neutralization. It is the heat liberated from the complete neutralization of 1 gram equivalent of acid with 1 gram equivalent of base. 1 gram equivalent of base.
Wait, can you go back, please?
Yeah, you can ask what you wanted to know.
Wait 1 second. Let me just write this down.
Yeah.
When it says 1 gram.
Yeah, I told you 1 gram equivalent of acid with 1 gram equivalent of base. Do you understand gram equivalent? Have you ever heard about gram equivalent? Have you ever heard? So you understand mole, you know mole?
Yeah.
So what is the
Yes.
equivalent? Do you understand the equivalent?
Yeah.
Okay, what is the equivalent? Can you define that? What is the formula for equivalent?
What the formula for equivalent is?
Yeah, I wanted to know equivalent. If I talk about the equivalent of acid, how can you define the equivalent?
Well, then if it's the same amount of moles, then it would be equivalent.
No. Actually, I think in mole concept, there is a concept called equivalent. You must understand. Equivalent is nothing but molecular weight divided by balance factor or N factor. This N factor is for acid. N factor for acid is number of replaceable H plus ion in the solution. If I say H2SO4 replace 2H plus in solution, so the N factor of H2SO4 will be 2. HCl furnishes only 1 proton in the aqueous media solution, so the N factor will be 1. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this is called the N factor. So equivalent is molecular weight upon N factor, and gram equivalent is nothing but weight in gram upon molecular weight into N factor. So see, gram equivalent is nothing but, I will write here, gram equivalent is nothing but weight in gram upon equivalent, and equivalent is what? Molecular weight upon N factor. So N factor will go into the numerator part. Okay. So can you tell me what is this? Can you tell me what will this? What will be the name of this particular portion? Weight in gram upon molecular weight into N factor. So can you tell me what is this?
Please go back for a second. I need to write something
Okay.
down.
Okay, fine, cool.
What does it say in the top right corner?
What you are asking?
What does it say in the top right corner? It's a gram equivalent equals.
Gram equivalent is equal to weight in gram upon equivalent. Weight in gram upon equivalent. Equivalent means E.
Okay.
Done?
Yes.
Okay, fine, cool. So in this particular thing, you will come to understand that gram equivalent is nothing but weight in gram upon molecular weight. What is this value? Weight in gram upon molecular weight. This is nothing but mole. What is
Yes.
mole? Mole is weight in gram upon molecular weight. I think you know this. So
Yes.
this is mole into N factor. So gram equivalent is mole into N factor. If I say H2SO4 1 mole, so 1 mole of H2SO4 equal to 2 gram equivalent of acid. Means, see here, if I say 1 gram equivalent of H2SO4, 1 gram equivalent of H2SO4 will be the mole of H2SO4, 1 mole into N factor. What is the n factor in H2SO4?
2.
2. So it will be equal to 2 mole.
Okay.
It will be equal to 2 mole.
Mhm.
That is how you will get the gram equivalent. So when we talk about the neutralization, process, we always considered a gram equivalent rather than mole. This is very conceptual thing. IIT JEE always ask a question on this concept, because generally student goes along with the same flow. They put mole in place of gram equivalent, and finally they won't get the answer. ठीक है?
Yeah, so in neutralization, it's always the gram equivalent.
Always gram equivalent.
Okay.
So I think today up to here is perfectly fine. Tomorrow onwards, we will complete the whole process of neutralization.
Do you think we'll be able to finish the 2 topics, 5 and 15, by tomorrow's class?
Yeah, I'll finish the topic.
Or class?
Yeah, tomorrow. What are those topics? 2 topics.
It's 5 and 15. They're both energetics and chemistry.
Okay, no, this thermochemistry. I think thermochemistry. We are already going to finish the topics. What you are saying? We are having any topic left in thermochemistry?
Yeah, so for my syllabus thing, if you've seen it, for the HL, it goes into energy cycles and entropy and spontaneity. Will we be able to do that in tomorrow's class or the class after?
Okay, tomorrow class. It will be completed. Entropy, I will take tomorrow class. So you are having the entropy and spontaneity. Okay.
Yes.
Definitely. This is a very classical topic. You will feel so much energetic in this topic, because entropy we are dealing on the daily basis. I can give you a live example. Today, when you go after this class, you go to your kitchen and start preparing the tea. When you will prepare the tea, you will see that from the liquid phase, there are the gaseous phase is going to form. When you provide the thermal energy, there will be a thermal vibration in the molecule. So what you see more of randomness or more of chaos. More of randomness increases when we are having the phase change. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That is the entropy. Entropy is the degree of randomness. Entropy is the degree of randomness. And when chaos happens, entropy increases. And when there is perfect order, entropy decreases.
Okay.
All right, got it?
Yeah. Yep.
So tomorrow we will discuss this randomness part of thing and Gibbs free energy.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. If you have any doubt from this session, you can ask. So I'll give a very classical homework to you in your home. I am having S3PO4, very classical question. S3PO4, S3PO3, and S3PO2. This is called orthophosphoric acid. Orthophosphoric acid. This is called orthophosphorus acid. Orthophosphorus acid. And this is called hypophosphorus acid. We are having 3 acid: orthophosphoric, orthophosphorus, and hypophosphorus. Now you have to tell me the if we are having the 1 mole of each. So can you tell me the 1 gram equivalent? How many moles will be there in 1 gram equivalent? How many moles will be there in 1 gram equivalent of each? That is my question. Number of moles in 1 gram equivalent of each. Can you calculate? Means this is your homework question. Now,
Okay.
Now what is the catch in this? Because all these are having 3 hydrogen. So you will say all these 3 has acid can remove the all 3 hydrogens. You will say like this, right? Yeah, but again, the n factor for all these 3 are different. And
Yeah. Okay.
what those n factor, that I will discuss tomorrow. If you are able to do that, you can do that by yourself. Otherwise, I will discuss.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, then. See you tomorrow. Till then, keep practicing and keep on doing a lot of questions. That will improve your grip.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.